Ladies and gentlemen, you want to know the fastest way to destroy laziness? I'll tell you. Don't start your day like 95% of the world, because 95% of the world loses the battle before they even get out of bed. They wake up and the first thing they touch is their phone, emails, Instagram notifications from people who don't pay their bills. And then they wonder why they feel tired, distracted, and unmotivated by 10 o'clock a.m. Let me give you a truth bomb. Laziness is not a disease, it's a decision. And the decision happens first thing in the morning when I wake up. I don't reach for the phone, I reach for a goal. I ask myself, why am I waking up today? Not, what do I need to do? Why do I need to do it? You don't need to do 100 things in the morning. You need to do one thing. Write. Make your bed. Drink a glass of water. Read one paragraph of something that grows your mind early, because winning is a habit and so is losing. You want energy, move your body, even 5 push-ups, even 5 minutes. You're not tired. You're stale. Movement creates momentum. Then before the world attacks you, you attack the day. Plan it. Write your top 3 tasks, and here's the magic. Do the hardest one first. Yes, the one you hate, the one you've been pushing to the afternoon, the evening, the next day. Do it while your brain is fresh. Do it while your competitors are still snoozing. Because the difference between average and unstoppable, it's not intelligence, it's not talent, it's discipline. Laziness dies the moment you stop thinking about what you feel like doing and start doing what you know you should do. So tomorrow morning, don't be soft. Don't negotiate with your excuses. Stand up, move, choose one small win, and chase your purpose like your life depends on it, because it does. What's the first thing you touch in the morning for most people? The answer isn't their toothbrush, it's not a book, it's not a journal, it's their phone. Now think about that. You've just opened your eyes, your brain is fresh, your heart rate is calm, you are in your most focused, untouched, clear state, and the very first thing you allow into your mind is noise, distractions, other people's opinions, other people's agendas. You didn't even decide what kind of day you want yet, and already you've handed over your focus to the outside world. What kind of power is that? That little rectangle in your hand isn't just a tool, it's a thief. It steals your attention, your clarity, and most importantly, your purpose. Let me tell you something. I've learned from highly successful people who built companies, changed industries, impacted millions. They don't start their day reacting. They start with intention. They start with why, not with a 5 purpose. It's not some mystical thing. It's not about a TED talk or a life philosophy written on your wall. It's about a simple decision. What am I waking up for today? Not what you have to do, what you want to build change or move forward. That question, when asked every morning, is a compass. It points you in a direction. If you start your day scrolling, you've already told your brain, I'm not in charge, the world isn't, distract me, tell me how to think. But when you start with purpose, with a question, a goal, a written thought, you remind yourself, this is my life, this is my time, and I decide where it goes. Here's a habit I dare you to try for 1 week. When you wake up, don't touch your phone for the first 30 minutes. Instead, keep a pen and paper next to your bed. And before your feet hit the floor, write this: what do I want to accomplish today? Why does that matter to me? Don't make it deep, make it real. Maybe your purpose today is to complete that project. Maybe it's to show up fully in that meeting. Maybe it's to stop being lazy and get shape. It doesn't have to be glamorous. It just has to be yours. Let's get practical for a moment. Do you know what checking your phone first does to your brain? It immediately puts you in reactive mode. You go from peaceful to alert. Cortisol spikes, anxiety rises, and you haven't even gotten out of bed. Instead of focusing on what matters, you're suddenly thinking about 10 things that don't. IM app, a news alert, a meme. You've traded your direction for a dopamine hit. The result, by 9 o'clock a.m., you feel drained and distracted, and you don't even know why. You didn't spend your energy, it was leaked out of you. You want to destroy laziness. You start by refusing to hand your brain to an algorithm. Purpose is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows with repetition. The more mornings you wake up and begin with clarity, the stronger your discipline becomes. You begin to remember what actually matters. You stop comparing your timeline with someone else's. You stop absorbing content you didn't ask for. You begin to control your time, your actions, and eventually your results. Your phone can wait, the notifications can wait, but your purpose, that can't. Success doesn't start with a billion-dollar idea. It doesn't start with funding or followers or fame. It starts with one small win. And then another, and then another. Laziness isn't just the absence of action. It's the absence of momentum. When people say, I feel stuck, what they usually mean is, I haven't won in a long time. Not a lottery win, not a promotion. I'm talking about small, invisible, everyday victories. The kind of wins nobody claps for, but they fuel your fire more than you realize. You wake up and make your bed, that's a win. You drink a full glass of water. When you go for a walk instead of hitting snooze. When you write your to-do list before breakfast. When these actions seem small, they seem like they don't matter, but stack them up and what you have isn't just a productive morning. You've built momentum. Momentum is what destroys laziness. Why? Because energy isn't something you wait for. It's something you generate through action. People say, I don't feel motivated. Of course you don't. Because motivation isn't the cause, it's the effect. It's the result of doing something. You don't wait for energy, you create it. Think of your brain like a machine. When it's idle too long, it rusts. But turn it on with just one gear, one micro action, and the whole system starts to move. You don't need to run a marathon, just take the first step. You don't need to write a book today, just write one sentence. You don't need to build a business in the morning, just make the first call. And here's where most people get it wrong. They aim too big too fast. They say tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock, a.m. run 10 miles, meditate for an hour, read 50 pages, fast until lunch, and build a 7-figure mindset. What happens, they fail by 6:30 a.m. and then shame creeps in. I can't do this, I'm lazy. I'm not like those other people. No, you're just trying to win a marathon before learning to walk. Instead, you build identity with wins so small you can't fail. You make a promise to yourself and then you keep it. That's what changes how you see yourself. That's what builds confidence. I'm someone who shows up. I'm someone who follows through. This isn't psychology fluff, it's brain science. When you complete a task, your brain gets a hit of dopamine, a chemical reward. Your mind says, that felt good, let's do more. One win leads to another, energy increases, focus increases, and soon the thing that felt impossible now feels automatic. Do you know how elite performers operate? They chase rhythm, not pressure. They know the magic isn't in intensity, it's in consistency. One domino knocks down the next, but you have to set up the first one. You have to realize that energy is a byproduct of progress. If you sit around waiting for the perfect moment to feel ready, you'll lose days, months, even years. But if you start small, commit to one task, no matter how tiny, you'll feel that shift, that spark. You'll go from zero to motion, and that motion will carry you further than willpower ever could. Forget being perfect, forget being impressive. Be progressive, be in movement. Do something so small it's impossible to say no to it. That's how you beat the voice that says, I'm tired, I'll do it later. Or what's the point? You silence it with one simple answer, I just did something. There's a reason ancient warriors trained before they fought. There's a reason world-class CEOs hit the gym before they hit the boardroom. And there's a reason you feel stuck, sluggish, and mentally foggy before your first coffee. Your body is your first tool, not your phone, not your laptop, not your to-do list. You want clarity, move. You want energy, move. You want to destroy laziness, excuses, and low self-esteem. Move your body. Laziness doesn't always start in the brain. It often starts in the body. When you stay still for too long, your energy drops, your mental sharpness fades, and you convince yourself that you're not in the mood. But here's the truth. Motion leads to emotion. The fastest way to change how you feel is to change what your body is doing. Your brain listens to your body more than you think. If your shoulders are slumped, your breathing is shallow, and your spine is curled over a phone, don't be surprised when your mind starts thinking small, lazy, and negative thoughts. Physical stillness leads to mental fog, but even 1 minute of movement, even just standing tall and breathing deep sends a signal to your brain. We're alive, we're capable, we're in control. You don't need a full gym session at 5:00 a.m. You don't need a perfect routine or workout gear. What you need is to break the inertia. Start with 10 jumping jacks. Start with 5 push-ups. Start with a 30-second dawn stretch. Start by walking, just walking, while repeating your intention for the day out loud. You're not trying to become an athlete. You're trying to wake up your system. When you move, blood flows. When blood flows, oxygen hits your brain. When oxygen hits your brain, you think clearer, faster, and smarter. You know what most people do when they feel mentally foggy? They open another app. They grab more caffeine. They stare at a screen, hoping for a spark of motivation. But motivation doesn't come from sitting still. It comes from activation. Your body is not a decoration, it's a machine. When it sits idle, it starts to decay. Physically, yes, but also mentally. You think better when your blood moves. You learn faster when your posture is open. You solve problems faster when you've been sweating, even just a little. High performers know this. They use their body like a tool, not a burden. They don't say, I feel like moving today. They say, I move so that I feel ready. It's a shift in mindset from passive to active, from reactive to intentional. And it's not just about energy, it's about confidence. When you move your body first thing in the morning, you're sending a powerful signal to yourself. I'm not lazy, I'm not stuck, I'm not here to coast, I move, therefore I progress. Even 5 minutes of body movement changes your state. Stretching loosens your mindset. Shadow boxing clears frustration. Walking allows ideas to surface. This is not about fitness. This is about focus. This is about priming your mind to operate at its highest level before the world gets noisy. It's about clearing out the mental fog that builds up overnight and replacing it with strength, presence, and clarity. When you neglect the body, the mind follows. When you engage the body, the mind obeys. The two are not separate. They are synchronized systems. You can't think sharply if your body is soft, stiff, and sluggish. You can't dominate your day if you haven't even stood up and taken charge of your own posture. You can't create momentum while remaining physically motionless. If you don't decide how your day will go, someone else will. And they won't ask for your permission. It could be your boss's emergency. It could be your friend's drama. It could be the news cycle, a text message, a random notification. If you don't design your day will design you, and it will not be in your favor. That's not just philosophy, that's real world execution. You think you're too busy to plan? Let me tell you what's actually expensive: reacting. All day long, waking up and checking emails before you know your top priorities? That's expensive. Starting work without knowing what done looks like? Expensive. Letting everyone else's problems jump the line in front of your own goals. That's the most expensive thing of all. Here's the truth. Most people wake up and just hope the day goes well. Hope they get lucky. Hope they stay focused. Hope nothing bad happens. That's not strategy. That's gambling. High performers don't gamble with time they allocated. They don't just see how the day unfolds. They fold the day to fit their goals. You don't need a fancy app. You don't need a perfect planner. You need 5 minutes, 5 focused minutes to do what 90% of people won't. Look at your day before it starts. Ask what matters most today. What will move the needle? What do I need to finish to feel like this day was a win? If you don't ask those questions, here's what happens. You spend your whole day reacting. You answer emails that didn't matter. You scroll when you should have created. You put out fires you didn't start. You confuse being busy with being effective. Activity does not equal progress, and effort without direction is a great way to stay in the same place for years. You have 140 minutes in a day. You don't need to control them all, but if you don't control the first 60, the rest of the day slips out of your hands before you even realize it. Think about a builder showing up to a job site with no blueprint. They've got bricks, tools, materials, but no plan. What happens? They waste time, they make mistakes, they build the wrong thing, then tear it down and start again. That's exactly how most people live every single day. Now picture this. You wake up, you breathe, you sit. With a pen, you don't touch. On your phone, you don't open your inbox, you write, what are the 3 most important things I must accomplish today? And you block time for them. You give them a place in your schedule, not just in your imagination, because what gets scheduled gets done. And what stays in your head usually stays there forever. You think design is just for logos, for houses, for clothes. Design is for your minutes, your hours, your decisions, because your life is the sum of how you spend your days. And your days are made up of moments you either planned or surrendered. Here's a trick. When designing your day, don't aim for perfection, aim for clarity, even if everything doesn't go your way, at least you know what your way looks like. And that alone puts you ahead of 95% of the population. Planning isn't rigid, it's power. Designing your day doesn't make you robotic, it makes you intentional, because when the distractions come, and they will, you already know what to say yes to. More importantly, you know what to say no to. The world is full of people, tasks, temptations, trying to steal your attention, but none of them can take it if you've already claimed it with a plan. The moment you wake up, your mind is at its sharpest. Not after your third coffee, not after a dozen emails, not after scrolling through the world's chaos. Right at the start. That's your golden zone. And what do most people do with it? They waste it. They use that fresh, powerful, clear-headed energy to do the easiest tasks on their list. Check email, reply to texts, reorganize their calendar, browse, scroll, read, comments. That's like using a sword to cut bread. Your mind is a weapon, and when you wake up, it's loaded. Clean and ready? That's when you attack the big thing, the thing you've been avoiding, the hard conversation, the strategic thinking, the deep work, the thing that scares you, stretches you, or builds you, because here's the truth. What's hard doesn't get easier later, you just get weaker. Your energy isn't infinite. Your focus is not permanent. You spend it every decision, every distraction, every interruption drains your battery. So by the time 300 p.m. hits, what's left? You're running on fumes. And yet that's when most people finally try to get serious. They wait until they're tired, distracted, stressed, then try to tackle the hardest task on their list. It doesn't work. And it's not because they're lazy, it's because they use their best hours on the smallest things. You want to change your life? Flip that around. Do the hard thing first. Doesn't matter if it's uncomfortable. It's supposed to be uncomfortable, that's the point. The more you train yourself to attack hard things early, the more your confidence grows, because every day you prove to yourself, I do the difficult when I'm strong. I don't wait until I'm weak. Laziness hides behind later. I'll do it after I clean my inbox. I'll start it once I finish this errand. I'll get to it when I have more time. But more time won't help if you're out of energy. More time won't help if your brain is cluttered and your willpower is drained. You don't need more hours. You need to master the first hour. When you put the hardest thing first, you free yourself from mental weight. It's like dragging a heavy bag around your brain. Once it's gone, everything else feels lighter. Your day picks up speed. You move faster, you feel lighter, you gain momentum. And this doesn't just build productivity, it builds character, because discipline isn't doing what you love, discipline is doing what you hate. Early, before your excuses wake up, most people walk around waiting to feel ready to tackle hard things, but readiness is a trap. You don't feel ready to climb a mountain, you just start walking. You don't feel ready to write that email, make that call, confront that fear, you just do it. Well, you've got the fire, there's a name for this, front-loading your resistance. Instead of dragging it through the day, you hit it first. You walk into the storm and come out stronger. And guess what? Once you've done the hardest thing, you don't just feel productive, you feel powerful. You've beaten resistance before it had time to whisper in your ear. You've crushed the voice that says, not yet. You've trained your brain to associate early hours with execution, not avoidance. So stop treating your peak energy like spare change. Use it like capital. Invest it where it gives the highest return, not in busy work, not in dopamine hits, but in the mission that actually moves your life. Forward in conclusion, laziness doesn't come from a lack of talent. It comes from a lack of structure, clarity, and purpose. If you want to destroy laziness, you don't fight it with guilt or motivation. You fight it with a system that puts you in motion before excuses can even wake up. Start your morning with intention, not distraction. Begin by anchoring yourself in purpose, not your phone. Stack small wins early to generate momentum. Move your body to fire up your brain. Design your day before it gets hijacked. And above all, tackle the hard things while your energy is fresh, not after it's been drained by noise and nonsense. Laziness doesn't stand a chance when your first 60 minutes are built on discipline, clarity, and motion. What you do each morning sets the rhythm for your entire life. You can't control every outcome, but you can control how you start, and the way you start determines everything that follows. If you want to win the day, win the morning. If you want to win the morning, own your habits, because once you've taken control of your morning, laziness is no longer your identity. It's just a memory you've outgrown.